Some of y'all didn't grow up being afraid that Anne Rice was going to sue you into oblivion, and it shows. So I came across this post, it was served up in my algorithm of this person promoting this book. As you can see there, it was #1 on Archive of Our Own, which is a fan fiction website, and promoted the acquisition of this book to their 20-something thousand followers. If you're not aware, fan fiction exists in a pretty murky legal gray area of intellectual property law. I say murky because fanfiction is technically a derivative work. However, a lot of people apply the fair use doctrine to it, and a number of lawsuits have kind of created a playground in which fanfiction writers can play. You can go read about the long and rich history of all of the many lawsuits that have created the current landscape of fanfiction. I will not bore you with them here. But I will tell you that right now, fanfiction exists in a lovely harmonious ecosystem with authors. Fanfiction writers stick to their websites like AO3, and authors pretty much leave them alone. Because a lot of that fight was already fought by people like Anne Rice, who was a very strong defender in the early days of the internet of her intellectual property. But over the years, her ideas about fanfiction softened, and she basically said it's a really lovely transitional ground for writers who want to play in somebody else's sandbox for a little while as they're kind of honing their own skills. And that's how it's treated by many people today. In fact, we've seen a lot of successful fanfiction writers become traditionally published authors, and quite successful ones at that. The thing about posts like this is that it normalizes the printing, binding, and propagating of fan fiction. When you have 20-something thousand followers, it leads to a lot of people in your comment section asking where they can buy one. Now, the original poster says that a friend printed and bound it for her in her kitchen, which, sure, maybe that's so. Maybe her friend has a printing press next to her toaster oven, but a lot of people know that you can very easily go to a lot of places and get illegally created print-on-demand fan fiction bound and mailed to you that is being sold by people outside of the reach of US copyright law. So a lot of people overseas are printing, binding, and selling print-on-demand fan fiction to anybody that wants it, with covers that are pretty identical to the one that allegedly her friend made for her in her kitchen. I'm not going to call anybody a liar without any proof, but I will say I have seen a lot of people make hand-bound books over the years, and I've never seen one come out looking like a soft cover paperback like that. I don't know, maybe somebody has that just in their house, yeah? But that's a little strange, especially when they're already all over TikTok, and everybody on TikTok is saying, just go to Etsy, they're right there. The point is that this is how you ruin fan fiction for everybody. It's how you get your favorite websites either sued out of existence or regulated to the point where they might as well be. There are a lot of people who make a lot of money off of the Sarah J. Maas intellectual property, and that is not a bear that I would personally want to poke. I gotta say, with as readily available as all of those print-on-demand fanfiction-bound copies from overseas are, it's giving the impression that the whole "my friend made this" sound like there's a little winky emoji at the end. Just go find a friend that'll make it for you. Just say that a friend made it for you. Don't normalize this. Do not normalize this. Don't put this on your platform. It is not gonna end well for the fanfiction community. It just will not. There is a disproportionate response at the end of poking that bear. The kind of lawyers, the kind of money that can be thrown at some of these lawsuits, if you poke the biggest of these bears, and people like Sarah J. Maas are the biggest bears right now, those folks can bring in attorneys that could just really cause a lot of problems for a lot of people. If you want fan fiction to continue, and you want the nice little happy ecosystem that everybody has created, where the fan fiction writers have their space and authors kind of leave them alone, don't do this. Don't do this. This is bad. And if you see somebody doing this, shame them. Tell them not to put this up there. Tell them not to promote this. This is not something that we should be doing. Thank you. Goodbye.